Hi and welcome back. I'm continuing the project of Pioneer Components Restore and Repair, and I decided to go with this. This is the worst component that should be in the wall mount. The model is SA-706. And I say that is the worst since the previous owner, told me that as this amplifier has blown out two speakers, both channels, and has blown out tweeters. So I really don't know what that means. If it's a problem of power supply or shorted finals. I adopt shorted finals since it's a problem that has affected both channels. So it's logical to think that there is a problem that is common to both channels. However, we will try to go through and see if we can find the cause of that fault that is really dangerous. Destroying the speakers is a very bad thing. The amplifier should have the DC protection. Actually, the protection is 3-level protections. There is DC offset, there is overcurrent and short circuit, which is different. This is what I've read on the service manual. So let's see if we can trace out what has caused the speaker blowing, and hopefully we can fix it. As we can see, the amplifier is without the cover screws. Well, luckily we have at least the cover, and yeah, standard configuration, and yeah, still over there missing the screws. So let's open it up. Oh, very giant heatsink. I don't know if somebody has previously attempted to repair it or not. Okay, so it looks pretty standard, pretty original, I have to say. Let me click more. I'm not sure that those resistors are original, by the way. So yeah, a lot of dusty. But other than that, yeah, a bit of tarnishing on the diodes. No very particular nasty signs, I have to say. Those capacitors should be checked, and moreover, I believe this amplifier, it's a very long time that it's not powered up, and while I'm looking at it, it seems that the finals are socketed. So I wonder if this wall unit can be removed as a single element. And that would be nice to check the finals and maybe power up without them, and hopefully save if there is something really wrong. Well, let's see. This, by the way, should be the relay. That seems that doesn't work since it's fried two speakers. So let's make some tests. I've removed the bottom cover since I would like to see if there are any reworks or previous repair attempt, and it seems to be pretty original. So it seems that nobody has touched this amplifier. So those resistors should be original since they live there, and there are no flux signs, nothing. So I strongly believe that this is still full original. And that is good since nobody has worked on it. I have removed all the bottom screws that hold the heatsink to the frame. So it seems that should be comes out, and indeed it does. Very, very user-friendly or service-friendly, I should have said. So that is really, really nice. So let's make some test on those final. Meter in diode mode. So let's see what we have here. So that is good. No leakage here. Let's see this. Good. No leakage there. Good. No leakage. That is really weird. Finals, by the way, I'm really happy. Seems very good. And, well, clearly I will make a deeper test with the transistor checker, but most probably with curve tracer, since I don't want to run the risk to assume that are fine. I made a preliminary test on capacitors, and they are not really bad. And I've also checked the transistors, the finals, and they all look fine. So I think I will go for power it up with Variac. Checking in the schematic, we have 5 voltages. We have plus and minus over there 48 volts or 46, 48. Then we have plus and minus 43. And then we have plus 13. I'm still a very low voltage. I'm about 100 volt. And this is set for 230. And all the voltages are equal, balanced, and I don't see anything wrong so far. And if we measure onto the capacitors, we have plus 23.50, yeah, bit moving. And here we have minus 23.56, let's say. Let's see the plus. Yeah, they are very balanced. So, and the same thing for plus and minus 43. So looks fine so far. I have raised up the voltage up to 130 volt AC. I'm having now 31.5 volt. And the protection relay has clicked. So I decided to connect to the scope on both channels. And look what I have. If I crank the volume up to 3.5, I have this weird signal. So now it could be because I don't have finals installed. But why this is the level of volume. Why I have only on one channel? That is really strange. And I'm in phono. If I switch on to another input type, yeah, it seems much better. Yeah, they are equal. So I think there is a problem with phono input. Look at that. If I switch to phono, yeah, we may have a problem in the phono stage. So let's go ahead with the test and increasing the voltage. I have now switched to tuner, and probably is the same on auxiliary input, and raising the volume up to 5.5, let's say. By the way, I still have a difference between the two channels, and there is weird signs over there. Don't know if this may have some sense. It seems that this ribbon cable here, especially this one, it's inducing a lot of noise, and yeah, clearly it's coming from the input. So it picked up a lot of noise. By the way, still there is difference between the two channels to be investigated more in depth. However, I started to replace some capacitor in the power supply section in the very beginning of power section, so main rectifiers only, and phono section as well, except those in the audio path. Since these capacitors are audio quality capacitors, and I don't have in my hand such type of capacitor. By the way, none of the capacitors that I have replaced were leaky or badly leaky, just very little, very little, and if we compare to the new ones. However, I stop now the capacitor replacement process, and before I go too much deep in the replacement, I want to see why this amplifier has blown out two speaker sets. So I will apply voltage. I will power it up slowly with the variac. I will measure on the output the voltages and see if there is any dangerous signs. Meter reading the left channel. I'm rising up. I'm already at 120 volt. So let's see if we can hear. Yeah, the protection relay has clicked, and this is the output. So no DC for the moment. Almost at full power, still 5 millivolt DC on the output. So I think I will go for full power and see how it behaves. Full power, very little offset, and this is the output. I'm at 20 millivolt per division, so no signal. Volume to 0. There is a bit of unbalancing between channel A and B. As we can see, I have a bit of offset on channel A, or I think it's a left channel, this one. So let's apply a load and a signal. Well, I have applied the dummy load. They are 8 ohms, almost 70 watt. But if I increase the volume with no input, again on the left channel I have this noise. Okay, I am now at the tuner input, and as you can see I have only one channel working and the second one is almost to zero. So, by the way, this channel seems fine to me. I don't see any problem. But the other channel is completely dead. By the way, I am applying same signal to the input. Okay, I have something. If I press on the switch, it's moving. So, yeah, bad contact. Okay, the cleaning of the switch has fixed the problem. As you can see, it's now working, and I'm running to the peak. There is a bit of difference here, so don't know if still we have some difference between the channels. However, yeah, it's going to clipping here. I need to put my probe by 10. I can't measure like that. So let's see now. Yeah, not too bad. This is full power. Seems fine. I'm applying a sweep signal from 10 kilohertz to 20. Sorry, from 10 hertz to 20 kilohertz. I have a bit of unbalancing between left and right to be checked more in depth. I still have this switch here, you see, that create problem. So I think I need to remove the switch and try to open it up. Well, clearly they don't track equally, and that is clear. But yeah, I think the amplifier is working fine. Just need maybe we have a channel that is not gaining as it should, but I don't see any problem that it could blow speaker. And I have brought back to by 1 DC couplet, and I don't have any DC offset again. If I go down to millivolt, I just have maybe 3-4 millivolts on channel 2. It's almost nothing. So I really can't understand why it has blown 2 speaker sets. I'm applying also 1 kilohertz 10 millivolt on phono input, since I won't exclude a problem in the phono section, and indeed it works without any problem. So I start to believe that it could be that some of the capacitor that have replaced it was leaky under voltage. Distortion here. I'm at clipping now, 0.1. Okay, my homemade dummy loads are a bit warm, so better to let them cool. Let me switch it off and reassemble the front panel and make some additional tests. I have connected one sacrificial speaker, only one. It sounds very good, no problem. Yeah, it's responding. Try loudness. Yeah, seems fine to me. So I will apply the second speaker and make a long test and see how it behaves. I found something. It's very badly distorting now. So think this is the cause of speaker blows. And it seems that if I touch here and there, it's starting to behave normally. It seems that we have some additional problem here, and luckily I didn't blow the lab speakers. Look at that. We have a problem with the protection relay, so must be remove it and clean it up for sure. That's maybe a cause. Okay, I have removed it and opened the protection relay, and look how it's tarnished. All the contacts are very tarnished, both sides. So let's try to clean up, and to do that I will use a silver plated polishing compound. That should be of help. Actually, it's not compound, it's a liquid active cleaner. Okay, the contacts are cleaned, but it seems that they have lost the polishing. It seems that the tarnishing has affected the polished surface. I don't want to mess beyond that, since they are really fragile, and I don't know if there is a coating or if it's a solid plate. So I will test like that. Yep. Pretty fine. All the tabs are intact, so nobody will see that has been taken apart. I'm performing the adjustments, and well, it seems the channels, they are not tracking equally, and I have quite a bit of difference, and indeed is indicated also in the meter, and I think the meter are indicating the difference. So I suspect that there is something still in the path that they are not tracking equally. That may be also the volume pot. So I think I need to trace where the signal start to differ one channel to the other. I'm monitoring the signal at the rec output, and they are very the same over there. So to this point the signal are balanced. Same thing to the volume pot input. So at the volume potentiometer output we have an unbalancement. Here we have almost 100 millivolt, and over there 85. So we have 15% of offset between the two channels. Well, the only way that I see to have a balanced tracking is to jump over the higher level channel pot, volume pot, a resistor which will allow me to create a sort of level reduction. And I came across at this point to 30 kilo ohm, and it's almost balanced. So I think that 27K resistor should be perfect, because right now we are almost there. There is let's say 0.4, 0.6 volt difference between the channels. With 27K resistor, they are tracking almost perfectly. So they are pretty balanced, not really perfect, but pretty balanced and acceptable. And indeed, also the meter are tracking pretty fine. So I maybe need to touch up a bit the regulation. Okay, the amplifier is completed reassembly, and it's working pretty fine. Clearly, the test that I have done so far is not so comprehensive. I would like to test phono and also the distortion and all the other kind of tests that should be performed on the amplifier. But I think it's okay for the moment, and I will skip those tests later on when I will be more ahead in Pioneer project. So I think it's enough for this video, and I will come back soon for other very interesting piece of equipment to repair. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon.